Today is July 17th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today at the Big Book, we're going to be continuing our story through Bill's story, which is page 8 today. And out of the 12 and 12, we are going to continue our journey through Step 3 by reading page 36. And of course, we will be reading the daily reflections and 24 hours a day for July 17th. So with that, hope you all are doing well this morning, my friends. Just enjoying this beautiful summer that we've had, and it's just been great. Just enjoying family time, and the fact that I just woke up sober today. I've been given another day. What a blessing. So let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, if you recall from yesterday's reading in the Big Book, Bill is in really bad shape. The last paragraph that we read, it says, "No words could tell of the loneliness and despair that I found in that bitter morass of self-pity. Quicksand stretched around me in all directions. I met my match. I had been overwhelmed. Alcohol was my master." So we're going to finish page 8. Trembling, I stepped from the hospital a broken man. Fear sobered me for a bit. Then came the insidious insanity of that first drink, and on Armistice Day of 1934, I was off again. Everyone became resigned to the certainty that I would have to be shut up somewhere, or would stumble along to a miserable end. How dark it is before the dawn. In reality, that was the beginning of my last debauch. I was soon to be catapulted into what I like to call the fourth dimension of existence. I was to know happiness, peace, and usefulness in a way of life that is incredibly more wonderful as time passes. Near the end of that bleak November, I sat drinking in my kitchen. With a certain satisfaction, I reflected that there was enough gin concealed about the house to carry me through that night and the next day. My wife was at work. I wondered whether I dare hide a full bottle of gin near the head of our bed. I would need it before daylight. My musing was interrupted by the telephone. The cheery voice of an old school friend asked if he might come over. He was sober. It was years since I could remember him coming to New York in that condition. I was amazed. Rumor had it that he had been committed for alcoholic insanity. I wonder how he had escaped. Of course, he would have dinner, and then I could drink openly with him. Unmindful of his welfare, I thought only of recapturing the spirit of other days. There was that time that we had chartered an airplane to complete a jag. His coming was an oasis in this dreary futility. The very thing an oasis. Drinkers are like that. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Page 36. Let's examine for a moment this idea of dependence at the level of everyday living. In this area, it is startling to discover how dependent we really are, and how unconscious of that dependence. Every modern house has electric wiring carrying power and light to its interior. We're delighted with this dependence. Our main hope is that nothing will ever cut off the supply of current. And by so accepting our dependence upon this marvel of science, we find ourselves more independent personally. Not only are we more independent, we are even more comfortable and secure. Power flows just where it is needed. Silently and surely, electricity, that strange energy so few people understand, meets our simplest daily needs, and our most desperate ones too. Ask the polio sufferer confined to an iron lung, who depends with complete trust upon a motor to keep his breath of life in him. But the moment our mental or emotional independence is in question, how differently we behave. How persistently we claim the right to decide all by ourselves, just what we shall think and just how we shall act. Oh yes, we'll weigh the pros and cons of every problem. We'll listen politely to those who would advise us, but all the decisions are to be ours alone. Nobody is going to meddle with our personal independence in such matters. Besides, we think, there is no one we can surely trust. We're certain that our intelligence, backed by willpower, can rightly control our inner lives and guarantee us success in the world we live in. This brave philosophy, wherein each man plays God, sounds good in the speaking, but it still has to meet the acid test. How well does it actually work? One good look in the mirror ought to be the answer enough for any alcoholic. Daily Reflections, July 17th. Surrender and self-examination. My stability came out of trying to give, not out of demanding that I receive. Thus, I think you can work out with emotional sobriety. If we examine every disturbance we have, great or small, we will find at the root of it some unhealthy dependency and its consequent unhealthy demand. Let us, with God's help, continually surrender these hobbling demands. Then we can be set free to live and love. We may then be able to 12-step ourselves and others into emotional sobriety. The Language of the Heart, page 238. Years of dependency on alcohol as a chemical mood changer deprived me of the capability to interact emotionally with my fellows. I thought I had to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, and self-motivated in a world of unreliable people. Finally, I lost my self-respect and was left with dependency, lacking any ability to trust myself or to believe in anything. Surrender and self-examination, while sharing with newcomers, helped me to ask humbly for help. 24 hours a day, July 17th. AA Thought for the Day. The new life of sobriety that we are learning to live in AA is slowly growing on us, and we are beginning to get some of that deep peace of mind and serenity that we never thought were possible. At first, we may have doubted that this could happen to us, but after any considerable length of time in AA, looking at the happy faces around us, we know that somehow it is happening to us. In fact, it cannot help happening to anyone who takes the AA program seriously day by day. Can I see my own happiness reflected in the faces of others? Meditation for the day. God does not withhold His presence from you. He does not refuse to reveal more of His truth to you. He does not hold back His Spirit from you. He does not withhold the strength that you need. His presence, His truth, His Spirit, His strength are always immediately available to you, whenever you are fully willing to receive them. But they may be blocked off by selfishness, intellectual pride, fear, greed, materialism. We must try to get rid of these blocks and let God's Spirit come in. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may remove all blocks that are keeping me from God. I pray that I may let God come into my life with power. All right, guys, so I'll keep this pretty quick. First of all, that person who's calling Bill, that's going to be Abby Thatcher. And it's going to be just an absolutely powerful interchange between Bill and his old buddy. I have no doubt that the God of my understanding was working in that situation. And speaking of which, I love this one here, the meditation for the day for 24 hours a day. God does not withhold His presence from you. He does not refuse to reveal more of His truth to you. See, when I was drinking and my old concept of God, I thought I had to be doing everything perfectly right or close to it, or God was going to abandon me. You know, like I said before, I've always believed in God. I just kind of a wrong perception of who I thought God was. I love this reading because it hints to me that, you know, God's there. The only thing that's blocking me off from Him is me and my own selfishness. It's like trying to see the outside world through a dirty window. It doesn't change the fact there's a beautiful world out there, but I can't see it out. It's obscured by a bunch of just junk on the window. But once I clean that window or whatever, and that I know it's kind of a weird metaphor, but once I clean that window, get rid of my unselfishness for the day. And I can experience God. He's there. He's always been there. But now I can actually see him and experience him. And I'm so grateful that even in the moments where I didn't see him, he was still there. Now that the window's clean, right? In hindsight, I see how he's worked in my life since the very beginning, even in the midst of my selfishness. So it's not this conditional love for me, where, he's there until I mess up and then he leaves me. No. He's there holding my hand and protecting me even when I can't see him or feel his presence. He's still there. But I sure like to kind of clean my side of the street and experience more of him. But anyways, that's all I've got for today, my friends. If you are sober today, you are a miracle. And I'm sure that those who love you are very proud of you. And if we're given another set of 24 hours, my friends, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.